Over their heads the oak spread its crown of leaves like a big green ceiling. "We could have tea here," said Pippi. "I'll pop in and make a drop." Tommy and Nika clapped their hands and shouted, "Hooray!" It wasn't long before Pippi had tea ready, and she baked buns the day before. She stood under the oak and began tossing up teacups, and Tommy and Nika caught them. Now and then it was the oak that caught them, so that 2 teacups were broken, but Pippi ran in and fetched new ones. Then it was in the buns' turn, and for a long while a cloud of buns whirled in the air. They at least didn't get broken. Finally Pippi climbed up with a teapot on her head. She had milk in a bottle in her pocket and sugar in a little box. Tommy and Nika thought that tea had never tasted as good as before. They weren't allowed to drink tea every day, but only when they were invited out. And now, after all, they were invited out. Nika spilled a little tea in her lap. It was warm and wet at first, but then cold and wet. But it didn't matter at all, said Nika. When they had finished, Pippi flung the cups down to the grass below. "I want to see how well the china maid nowadays wears," she said. "1 cup and all 3 saucers held. Strange as it seems, as for the teapot, only the spout broke off." All of a sudden, Pippi decided to climb a bit high in the tree. "Well, I never saw the likes of this before," she shouted. "The tree's hollow!" Going right into the trunk, there was a big hole, which the leaves had hidden from the children's eyes. "Could I climb up and see too?" said Tommy, but there's no answer. "Pippi, where are you?" he called uneasily. Then they heard Pippi's voice, not above them, but far below. It sounded as if it was coming from under the ground. "I'm inside the tree. It's hollow all the way down. If I peep out through a little crack, I can see the teapot on the grass outside." "But how are you going to get up?" shouted Nika. "I never can," said Pippi. "I'll have to stand here till I get pensioned off, and you'll have to throw food at me through the hole up here 5-6 times a day." And Nika began to cry. "But why worry? Why complain?" said Pippi. "Come down here instead, you two. You can play while we're languishing into a dungeon." "Not on your life," said Nika, and for safety's sake she climbed out of the tree altogether. "Nika, I can see you through the crack," shouted Pippi. "Don't step on the teapot. It's a good old cozy teapot that never did anybody harm. And it isn't its fault it doesn't have a spout anymore." Nika came up to the tree, and through a little crack she saw the very tip of Pippi's forefinger. This comforted her a great deal, but she was still anxious. "Pippi, can't you really get up?" she asked. Pippi's fingers disappeared, and in the twinkling of an eye her face popped up through the hole up in the tree. "Perhaps I can if I really try," she said, holding the leaves out of the way with her hands. "Is it that easy to come up?" said Tommy, who was still in the tree. "Well, when I want to come down and languish a little." "Well, first," said Pippi, "I think we'll catch a ladder." She crawled out of the hole and slid quickly to the ground. Then she ran to fetch a ladder and struggled with it up the tree and stuck it down the hole. Tommy was wildly excited and couldn't wait to go down. It was quite a difficult climb up the hole, as it was rather big, but Tommy was brave. He wasn't afraid to climb into the dark tree top either. Nika saw him disappear, and she wondered if she'd ever see him again. She tried to look in through the crack. "Nika," she heard Tommy's voice saying, "you can't imagine how wonderful it is here. You must come in too. It's not the least bit dangerous when you have a ladder to climb on, but if you do it just once, you'll never want to do anything else ever." "Are you sure?" said Nika. "Absolutely sure," said Tommy. So Nika climbed up the tree again with quaking legs, and Pippi helped her with the last difficult part. She shrank back a little when she saw how dark it was inside the trunk, but Pippi held her hand and encouraged her. "Don't be afraid, Nika," she heard Tommy say from inside. "I can see your legs now, and I'll be sure to catch you if you fall." Nika didn't fall. She came down safe and sound to Tommy, but in a minute Pippi followed. "Isn't this spiffing?" said Tommy, and Anika had to admit that it was. It wasn't nearly as dark as she thought, because the light came in through the crack. Anika went there to make sure that she could see the teapot on the grass outside. "We can have this for a hiding place," said Tommy. "Nobody could possibly know we're in here, and if they came looking, we could see them through the crack, and we'll laugh." "We can have a little stick to poke them through the crack," said Pippi. Then they'll think there are ghosts." With this thought, the children became so happy they three hugged each other. Then they heard a gonging which rang before dinner at Tommy and Nika's home. "How awful," said Tommy. "We'll have to go home now, but we'll come here again tomorrow, as soon as we get home from school." "Do," said Pippi. As they climbed up the ladder, first Pippi, then Anika, then Tommy after. And then they climbed down the tree, first Pippi, then Anika and Tommy after.